Welcome to Empire Building. I'm Wendy Papazan, and together with my 4 co-hosts, we bring you weekly unfiltered conversations about leadership, growing a big empire, and living on your own terms.
I'm Kymber Levitt-Mankiti. We are investors and wealth builders with over $75 million in combined net worth.
I'm Sarah Reynolds. We are visionaries who built more than 50 businesses with over $122 million in annual revenue.
I'm Tiffany Fikes. We've led thousands of people and do it all while being pretty good moms.
And I'm Seychelle Van Poole. We are your podcast to learn how to build big businesses and even bigger lives.
Hey listeners, welcome back to Empire Building, the podcast where we don't just talk about strategy, we talk about the real stuff. And I am here with my beautiful co-host, Kymber Levitt-Mankiti. And we're so excited today to actually revisit one of our most popular episodes. We recorded it, gosh, I don't even know, probably pre you joining the podcast, Kymber. Yeah, so I think it was in 2021 or 2022. And really one of our most popular episodes of all time, which is on overcoming call reluctance. So today we're just going to kind of revisit that podcast with a little bit of a new spin and talk about why most salespeople quit before they ever get good and how to really push through.
I'm excited about this because I think it is, when you think about, right, like strategy and what works and doesn't work, it's one of the single biggest reasons that people give up, right? And if you could solve for it, it changes the game.
Well, here's a stat that should wake everybody up. It's something that stopped me in my tracks. There was a book called The Psychology of Sales, Call Reluctance. They found that call reluctance is the reason 80% of new salespeople fail in their first year. And we know if you're in the real estate industry that 90% of all realtors, they fail in the first 2 years. And they go back to doing whatever they did before they got into real estate. So if you can master this one thing, you are that much more likely to go on and reap the rewards of a sales career, especially in real estate. So yeah, today we're going to break it down. So we're going to really talk about like the psychology behind call reluctance. Like what is it actually? It's not really what most people think. And then why some people struggle with it more than others. Maybe some people are actually more naturally inclined to be able to pick up the phone and ask for something. We're going to talk about some fascinating brain science. And then we're going to go over our top 10 ways to actually overcome call reluctance. So by the end of the podcast, you should have a number of ways to really be able to master this incredible skill.
I love it. And to help your people. Because I think, operation, like making it real, I think call reluctance, when you hear it, you're like, I don't know, like sometimes, maybe not, maybe that's me, maybe it isn't, maybe it's somebody I'm coaching, but I certainly live with it every day, right? Having the opportunity to lead 10 real estate offices and coach and consult top agents, looking at what are some of those big differentiators. And a lot of times it's not that they didn't have the fear, it's that they overcame the fear. And one of the key pieces is this idea that you're bothering somebody, right? Like I'm going to bother them if I call. And when I talk to top agents, shifting the mindset, shifting that perspective from am I bothering them to am I bringing them something of value, right? I'm bringing them something, I'm coming from contribution, I'm coming from away. And just that small shift, right, unlocks the ability to move from fear into action. And I think watching that play out for a number of the agents that I have the opportunity to work with has been really powerful. And it's one of those small things. Like if you're thinking, oh my God, I'm going to bother them, they're going to be upset, they're going to hang up on me, what's the worst thing that can happen? Versus, hey, I'm actually calling in, I'm bringing a lot of value, and it really shifts the game.
Yeah, well, I love that. So what is call reluctance really? It's not laziness, right? It's not a lack of motivation. It's a real psychological phenomenon, and it shows up as powerful negative emotions, fear, shame, embarrassment, anxiety, guilt, and sometimes for some people, full on panic, right? Mm-hmm. You might have catastrophic thinking, which is like no one's good. Like you said before, Kymber, no one's going to pick up. They think I'm going to be annoying. They won't want to work with me. You might see yourself avoiding calling, right? Over preparing, reorganizing your desk, checking your email, literally anything to delay the call. And then you've got paralysis at the moment of action, like the phone is just right there and you don't pick it up. So That is truly a true phenomenon, and it's not something to be taken lightly.
No, not at all. And I think the reality is that some people struggle with it more than others, right? And so understanding like what that is and unpacking it. This is important because some people can carry that like shame, but they're not doing it, especially when you know that's the thing you need to do to feed your family, right? It's your livelihood. It's the thing. So there's a lot of like that anxiety, that disappointment. So let's clear all that up, right? Let's clear up what that is and how the difference. The core drivers are that fear of rejection, right? Which is a very deeply wired into your human psychology and likely something that is a result of something, right, that happened at a different point in your life.
Yeah, we're a species that the reason we've survived so long is that we need to be together in community, right? It's a core part of our species. And so when we feel rejected from other people, that affects us like in the very core of our humanity, really.
One thing about we often encourage people to start where? With people that know you, like you, trust you. So this idea of rejection from the people who know you is actually that much harder. It's why you see a lot of agents actually feel more comfortable with an internet lead or a lead. Like, why is that? Because we're like, all the data shows you that the person, you're going to have a better shot with the person who already knows you, likes you. But the fear of rejection can be even bigger, right? You want that least from the people that you care most about. That same piece is shame, right? What will they think of me? I'm going to be embarrassed. Like, what are they going to say? Are they going to think that I'm not qualified to do this? Especially if you're transitioning from a different career, a different industry, all of the shame, right? That comes with that. And then ultimately, like we're saying, like that embarrassment. What if I don't get it right? What if I don't deliver good service? Especially from the people who you want that respect from the most.
Yeah. And a huge one that doesn't get talked about enough is just the lack of training and support. And training matters, right? Knowing your company's value matters no matter what industry you're in.
Yes. I think this is so key. I remember the first time, right, in these like practicing these conversations and having a partner and practicing objections. And I was out meeting with a seller, and literally the seller like said the exact statement, right, that we had been practicing. And my like level of like confidence, I was like, I know this one. It was like a test, right? I was like, I know the answer. I know the answer. And it would like my ability to like handle it, feel confident in it, feel comfortable. Like I wasn't on my heels. It like was a light bulb, like it just switched for me of like, wow, the power of preparation and feeling like I had the confidence to answer the question and be prepared and not feel caught off guard. And so I think you're spot on, Wendy, like just the training, we can't overestimate, right, how much it means to be trained. Like think about any other world. If you were playing a sport, if you were doing, like you would train a ton before you got in the game. And we don't do that a lot in the sales world, right? We're like, here's the list, jump in, start calling, just go, jump in, the water's warm.
Yeah, preparation, not over preparation, but preparation is definitely key.
Absolutely.
Here's something I find kind of fascinating. There was in 2007, researcher Ethan Cross led a study that used fMRI to look at brain activity in people with high versus low rejection sensitivity. And what they found is people with low rejection sensitivity showed increased activity in the lateral prefrontal cortex. That's the part of the brain associated with top-down cognitive control. Listen to me. I sound like a psychologist right now.
I'm like, you sound so like, I'm like, man, you're witty.
Essentially, they were like better at overriding the emotional fear response with rational thinking. So, if you've ever taken Bold, you can talk about like you can't control your first thought, but you can control your second thought. And so it's like if you have that ability to sort of talk yourself down from a ledge, which is your brain talking to your brain, you're just going to be that much better off. But the good news about that is it's actually a trainable skill. It's something that we can learn. Just because you might have high rejection sensitivity doesn't mean you can't build that skill over time so that you can look up. Like I know for me, my sensitivity towards all of that has changed dramatically since I, started my real estate business.
I love it. And it's so true, right? Like that I think is powerful. And so many of our empire builders are women as well, right? So thinking about too, what our environment as women, we're trained to kind of please and
of
support.
Course.
And so that can mean even like that you've built that both in the neuroscience, but also in the practical, right? That you're taught to try to please people and to
make everyone
look at
happy.
Their best interest, make everybody happy.
Yeah.
And I think that can even be another challenge, right? To jumping in and doing it. So we're going to dive into the top 10 ways that you can actually overcome this and shift out of it, right? The knowledge to know, hey, you have the power to do that. And so we're going to walk through a couple of these tactics that you can put into work right away.
I love it. Think about any kind of, like you were talking before, Kymber, any kind of sporting activity. Like think about skiing. If you've never skied and you ski for the first time as an adult, it's quite scary. But if you grow up skiing and you've skied hundreds of times, then it's just not that scary anymore. So the first time is always going to be the worst. Okay. So it never gets worse than that. The 10th time you could be having fun, and, it's confidence through competence, right? The better you get at something, the more confident you're going to feel at it. I know for me, my goal was just to talk to 5 people a day about real estate for a long time. And that was hard at first. And now it's extremely easy.
It is. And I love that because it compounds over time. We talk about that with our money, right?
Yeah.
There's 5 people, right? Over time becomes easier and it gets more powerful. The second one is really master the tools before you start. And I think this is important. Like we're saying, master the tools. Don't progress over perfection. Don't freeze because you're trying to master them, but know what you're going to be using. Know your CRM, know where the note section is, know where you're going. Even the old school world. I know I've got agents still who is print out the list. They are old school, or pick up the phone, print out the list and make my notes. And then today you got all these incredible AI systems that feed back in and they'll convert the notes for you. So understand it so that you're not fumbling. And perfection is absolutely the enemy of progress. Knowing the tools is not perfection. It's about your preparation. So what is it? And don't get lost. Today I feel like it's tool fatigue. Everybody's introducing you to a brand new tool that's going to save your life and save you time. But what are the basic things that you can do to just get started? And don't try to look for all of these incredible shortcuts. Like Wendy said before, there's no shortcut. It's at the end of the day, you need to know where your contacts are. You need to communicate with them and you need to be able to track the notes and actions.
And then number 3, this is, basic sales, but ask questions, don't sell. The moment you shift your identity from salesperson, cheesy salesperson, trying to close a deal, to I'm a curious person trying to understand their situation, everything changes for you. So come from curiosity, right? Understand that sales is a helping profession. And don't be afraid to ask questions. If you're trying to pitch something, that feels really scary. But if you're seeking first to understand someone's situation, then that's a completely different mentality. So stop pitching and start asking, and you'll find, first of all, that you'll close way more deals. And secondly, your fear factor will go way down.
And this one, know what you're actually selling, or also said what problem you're solving. Right? You're providing something that is a solution to a problem that somebody has. And you're really looking for the person who has that problem. So you're not selling a service, right? You are offering a solution. And that's a powerful reframe. You've got a solution that you want to be able to offer to more people in your world. So you have something that people need, and your job is to get in front of people who have that need, connect the dots. And when you believe that, when it is so core, then it feels like a calling. It's a mission. You're not burdening them, right? You're creating an opportunity in a space. And when you think about the evidence, look for the evidence. Look for the client that you helped. Look for the person that first-time home buyer, that investor that now is able to make different decisions financially because of that. Now you're trying to provide that for additional people.
Yeah, I love that. And for those of you that have been doing this for a while, you've made a huge impact.
Yes.
You really have.
Yes.
We're celebrating our 2500 client on Monday. So we've got our 2500 client that we've ever helped, which is it blows me away. That's a small village, And the impact that we've had as a team, it's just phenomenal. We've helped so many people build wealth and find their dream homes and, get out of situations that they didn't want to be in. And it's a real gift what we do.
A lot of us have changed our language, right? From closings to family served. This idea of just even what you name it, what you call it, make it personal. It is 2,500, that's incredible.
Yeah.
2,500, right? Families impacted by the work that you've done. So even the language we use helps to disarm that.
All right. Number 5 is to build your environment intentionally. Okay. So when you're thinking about your call block, when you're thinking about your time block for prospecting, you want to remove as many distractions as possible. So make sure you've turned all your notifications off on your phone. You want to close the tabs on your computer. Tell your team, if you've got one, hey, I'm going to be making phone calls from X to X. And the one thing, they call this building your bunker. And so this is something that you absolutely want to do. And, fuel yourself up, get some water, get some snacks. I know I'm highly distractible. So, I could be prone to making a few calls and then getting to the bathroom and then getting a snack and talking to people at the while I'm filling up my water bottle. But if you create a bunker where you've got a couple of good solid hours, the results are going to be so much better.
This one I think is awesome, and one that's been real transformative for us, like certainly in the Her Best Life world, is get a mentor, right? A real person, not a YouTube video, not a book, not a reel, but a real person who has done this more than you, who you can debrief after the hard calls, who will potentially even hold you accountable, right? That you can follow up with. That mentorship really compresses the learning curve and makes it feel a lot less lonely, right? You're personalizing this experience. Somebody's done the hard thing that you're working to get through, and that can really accelerate your results.
Yep. And then number 7, we already talked about this a little bit, but it's a call to serve, not to sell. So just internalize it. You are not imposing on people, right? We know that there are so many bad, especially realtors out there, plenty of bad salespeople in every industry. And if you can get to someone before somebody else does, you're actually doing them a favor, right? Because the chances of them ending up with a bad agent are extremely high. So you're looking for people who genuinely need your help. Thousands and millions of homes get sold every year in the United States, and it's because people need to sell for a variety of reasons, and you're giving them a chance to say yes or no. They don't have to say yes to you, and every no is, one more on your way to the actual yes. So, and this, for me, this reframe really shifted the energy of every single one of my calls, because I do love to help people, and I'm here to serve, and I'm not here to sell.
So true. And you really walked us right into the next one, which is number 8. Gamify the no's. And this one I love, right? Because it's every step, right? Moves you closer on a no to a yes. And if you just accept that, right, if I'm going to be making X amount of calls, I'm going to get, for every 10 no's, the yes is coming, right? Like, you've gamified it. And you really want to know, how many no's am I going to collect today? And if you're part of a team or with a mentor, compete on the rejections. You can have a hang up, rude responses, track them, have a callback schedule. Really, did somebody say something that was just hilarious that you're like, I'm going to remember that for a really long time. Right? And you really celebrate and enjoy, right? Have fun with the no's, and the yeses take care of themselves. I almost feel like it's a universe, right? I know that if I've gotten a lot of no's, lots of hangups, lots of, even a day where I feel like I did a lot of calls and nothing landed, usually the yes is somewhere in my world later that day. And it's going to show up, whether it's a callback or response or just a referral, because you did the activity and the results show up.
Yeah. And the reality is, after every no, if you're a thoughtful person, you're going to be thinking of, why did I get a no? What could I have done differently? How could I have said that differently? How could I get a yes? And that's going to lead you down the path to the next call where you're more likely to get a yes instead of a no. And I can remember when I started, and I'd hired 2 ISA, inside salespeople, to help me. And I went on 11 appointments. They set 11 appointments for me. I didn't get a single one. And I remember after the 11th one, I was driving home in the car, I called my husband, and I was crying because, I had 2 people that were depending on me. And I just was like, this isn't working. I need to quit. And then, after every single one of those no's, I would think to myself, what could I say different? How could I approach it different? And so, on the 12th listing appointment, I actually got that one. So it was very much that in action. And the other thing that you can do is number 9, which is to do a doomsday prep, which is worst case scenario. So if you're doing a big calling session, I do the opposite of affirmative visualization. I say to myself, this is going to be so hard. Some people are going to be rude. I used to do this when I was in New York. Someone's going to hang up on me. Someone's going to tell me not to call them ever again. I'm going to feel embarrassed, especially in my 20s. And the worst thing that can happen is really, you're going to feel bad.
Yes. I love that. And number 10, our last one, right? Use the timer method. This is the how do you eat an elephant, right? One bite at a time. So set a timer, 10 minutes. Tell yourself, just 10 minutes. One prospect, one person, that's it. You can do 10 minutes. We can do hard things for 10 minutes, right? This is sometimes how I work out. I'm like, I can do this for this long. And once you get started, you can keep going, right? You can keep going. The momentum of calls, the momentum of the activity compounds, and that might lead you into a 60, 90-minute sprint. And you're not trying to do more than that anyway, right? You want to be able to take a break, build in the break, have a time, get up, grab water, walk around, and then come back in if you've got a longer block of time. But really setting that up for yourself anyway, that you're like, okay, I'm going to go hard for 45 minutes and then I'm going to take a break. I get 15 minutes. I can do something different, shift my energy, and then come back in. It really allows you to hold a rhythm, but start small, right? Start with that 10 minutes and then build upon that.
Yeah, I love that. And just some closing thoughts, guys. Here's what I want you to take away. Here's what Kymber and I want you to take away from today. Call reluctance is completely normal. Okay. It's basic human behavior. You're not a weirdo because you can't do it. Some people have more sensitivity and some people have less sensitivity, but it's absolutely 100% beatable. Okay. Just using the 10 techniques that Kymber and I just went through.
Yes. And, we get asked, Wendy, I think a lot, is the phone still even relevant today? Right? And it 100% is. 100% is. The phone's not your enemy. Like a text doesn't do it. A DM doesn't do it exclusively. Like the phone is not your enemy. It is the fastest path to helping somebody and to building that relationship, to getting into connection, to actually moving closer to your goals. So train yourself, train your people, and support them. Don't let them sink or swim alone. Like get in rooms. We will get on Zoom calls and everybody's calling. You mute. If you get a good call, pop it in. Like just to create that connection and community. You're not in it alone, and finding ways to be connected while you do it.
And I actually feel like in our very disconnected AI sort of world, authentic human connection is going to become more and more valuable. And the way that you do that is through a phone call, right? If you can't get belly to belly with someone, picking up the phone and calling. And that for a lot of people who haven't made a lot of calls, like I know I grew up making phone calls starting in 7th grade. I had a teen line. My mom worked for the phone company, so I had my own line. So I've been making phone calls for many, many years. Yeah, I put the reps in. And if that's not you, that just means it's not you yet. And don't forget, 80% of salespeople fail because of call reluctance, which means the ones who push through are playing a totally different game entirely. So guys, thank you so much for listening to the podcast today.
Go make that call.
Go make that call.
We're waiting. Wendy and I are here. Have a great week.
Warning. You must comply with the TCPA and any other federal, state, or local laws, including for B2B calls and texts. Never call or text a number on any do not call list, and do not use an auto dialer or artificial voice or pre-recorded messages without proper consent. Contact your attorney to ensure your compliance. This podcast is for general informational purposes only. The views, thoughts, and opinions of the guest represent those of the guest and not Keller Williams Realty LLC and its affiliates, and should not be construed as financial, economic, legal, tax, or other advice. This podcast is provided without any warranty or guarantee of its accuracy, completeness, timeliness, or results from using the information.